Hello, hello. I want to do a short little video response to a question that was emailed to me. Thank you, Stephanie, for the question. The question is, I'm curious about adding a floating element to a web page, similar to the donate button on the PS Arts website. I read through the page source, but was not able to identify which code is creating this effect. Are there keywords you can suggest for me to look up an example of this element on the w3schools.com site? So yeah, let's check this out. I have pulled up the website right here. This is the psarts.org website. Here's the donate button or logo, the donate graphic, which acts as a button. Let's click on this, see what happens. Yeah. So let's talk about how we can look at a web page's code and then figure out what's going on. I'm using Firefox, and this is a good opportunity to point out that there's a number of ways to look at code on a web page. You can always just look at the source. I'm right-clicking on the page and choosing View Page Source, and then I get to see all the code that's being used to generate this page. And I could go and look around, and you know, you see there's quite a lot of lines of code here. There's more than 1,500 lines of code. So, you know, looking at source code will definitely sharpen your skills of reading code and being able to identify what's going on in code. Firefox has a tool that lets you look at code in a way that might be more efficient and might be more directed, especially if you want to do something like this, just investigate a particular element. Most browsers that are worth their salt have some kind of tools built into them where you can, you know, work with pages in the browser. In Firefox, there's a in the menu a section called Tools. The item called Web Developer has a number of web developer tools, and the one I want to point out is Inspector. Inspector is a special way of looking at source code. If I click this, panel opens up here, and what's cool about it is that you've got your page, and your mouse now can hover and identify different elements on this page, and whatever your mouse is on shows up here highlighted in the code. So it's a more interactive way to explore code. So in this case, I can find this button. Here it is, and some information comes up. It tells me the code that's being used around it. This an A tag, and then there's some classes: sticky, hidden XS, hidden S. Tells me the size. I can click on this button or this element to you know, to indicate to Firefox, to the inspector, that hey, I'm interested in this element, and it's gonna pull up the code and highlight it for me. So I get to see exactly where this code is and what it looks like. I see that there's an A tag, which is a link, and it's around some text called Donate Now. That makes sense. And then there's a bunch of styles here. So it's telling me that this element is being styled to look like a button and positioned to behave like a floating element through these styles. So this is my first clue, and I've gotten to it very quickly using Firefox's inspector tool, as opposed to swimming through 1,500 lines of code. So the second piece to this tool is that not only does it help me find the code, over here in these other areas, it shows me some things about how this element is being utilized. It shows me the layout set up for it. It also shows me all the CSS code that is associated with this element. So I'm going to open this up a little bit, and we're going to investigate. So as you can see in this highlighted code, there's an A tag with a class, and there are 3 classes that are associated with this A tag: sticky, hidden -xs, hidden -s. And there's an attribute. It does go to a directory called donate whenever you click this Donate Now. Let's take a look. let's look for these classes: class sticky, hidden XS, and hidden S, and see if we can figure out how this element is getting turned into a button and then getting placed in this on top of this image here of these kids. So here in the inspector, in my CSS panel, I can see that it has listed all these styles that are applicable to this element. And right up here is the sticky class. And if you look at this sticky class, I think this CSS class says it all, actually. Here's a width and a height. And here's a background. Here's this background. So this little circle scribble type of thing is coming into this element through the sticky class. It's getting its size because of this. And here's really the meat and potatoes to answer Stephanie's question. This class is also assigning this element to display in a block format and to have a fixed position and to be positioned in this location. So this right here, top 190 pixels, right 10 pixels. This is top 190 pixels and right 10 pixels. So it's being positioned in this spot because of this code, these properties in this class. So I think we found it. Zindex 99999. This is a layering declaration, so it means that this element, this A class with sticky, is going to be on top of other things. And there's a whole bunch of formatting styles in this sticky class. So this is I believe we've found the answer to the question, to Stephanie's question. It's this sticky class. We do explore the idea of compositing in this course. So we will learn how to place an item over another item for sure. And I think we've answered the question, right? Let's see. Okay. How do we look up an example on W3 Schools? Let's go look up W3 Schools. I'll point you in the right direction. Sorry, display fixed. All right, so here's a link with information about the fixed display position, which is, let's see, which is what this element in the PS Arts website is using, position fixed. So this would be a good place to start. You can look at the different types of positioning values, explore what they do, and then take a look at why this fixed was used. The reason it's used is that it's going to, have a definite coordinate location in your layout, and there are times where you need that, especially when you want to lock an element into a certain spot in the layout. Just as a note, over here, there are two other classes, hidden XS and hidden S. I'm not going to look for them, but I'm going to guess what this means is that this button hides itself when the web page is being presented in a small or extra small display mode, and that would probably correspond to mobile view. So on a mobile phone, there's probably not going to be a lot of width here, so there's not going to be a lot of space on this side. So the design is saying, well, just hide this donate button and let people donate in some other way. For instance, from up here in the menu. We can simulate that. If I take this browser and collapse the width, we can simulate a mobile view. And my guess is at some point that donate now graphic is going to vanish. There it is. It just vanished. So here it is. This is probably the width in that corresponds with the small view, and then there's an extra small view, something like that. So that behavior would be considered responsive behavior, and the way we would create responsive behavior is with a media query. I'll pull this up. See schools. Here's the link to responsive media queries. We also go over this in the web design course, so you will learn how to write a media query. You will learn how to design your pages in a responsive web responsive design format. So, but if you want to get a head start, if you're really excited, here's the link. I'll add the link to the video description for both position and queries. So thank you for the question, Stephanie, and to whoever's watching, thank you for watching, and I'll see you online.